What is happening, everybody? It is another fabulous Monday night here at the Horns Forward Podcast, the excellence in broadcasting. We are super excited.
Don't know about that.
Well, man, somebody's got to tell us we're excellent, so we may as well tell ourselves, right?
Hey,
We gotta hype our own selves up.
Tonight, very special show. Should we go into that right away, or
you're excited? Go. Just go.
Are we saving that for the end?
Go.
You know what? I'm going to save it. A little teaser. Like, we got some special stuff that we want to show at the end. So probably let's go ahead and talk to our special guest, because it's probably a little bit more important than what we're going to talk about anyways. I don't think so, but no, seriously, super excited for tonight's episode. We have a very special guest joining us tonight. This gentleman, for most of San Antonio, needs no introduction. But this gentleman that's about to come on, years and years of broadcast experience. I don't want to spoil all the good information for him and everything like that. He is one of the most recognized voices in sports broadcasting, at least in South Texas anyways. And he's notorious for knowing how to work a crowd, get everybody fired up, keep everybody on the edge of their toes, and keep them into the game. He announces for a bunch of different high schools. He announces for a couple different universities, all different kinds of sports. He even covers some auto racing, which he'll talk about in a little bit. But for those that may not know him, this is the guy that we've been yelling the hashtag Hope for Hope about. None other than the legendary, the epic, the almighty Milton Hope. Welcome to the show, Milton.
Wow. How do I live up to that?
I told you I was going to butter you up, man.
You must have had all that written down. There's no way to memorize that.
Most of it. I'm not
Very
that
happy
smart.
to be here. We're very happy to join you guys.
No, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
We're super excited to have you on.
So,
Yeah.
for everybody who knows me, you know I've been screaming this guy's name at the top of my lungs ever since he announced our game against Birmingham, and we will get to that towards the end of the show when we talk about some of the things that he did and how he was able to get everybody engaged and fired up. But I think we should probably kind of set the stage, right? Milton, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who you are, what you do, some of the things that you cover, and really kind of where you got your start in broadcasting, because I think that's important for our viewers to know.
Well, the place that I got my start was with Armed Forces Radio during the first Gulf War. I was over in Saudi Arabia, rocking the overnight airwaves, playing anything from Tim McGraw to Motley Crue, back to back.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So I was playing music on the airwaves overnight and giving recipes for the MREs that the troops have to eat. Came home and worked at KTSA Radio for a while. And that's kind of where everything kind of started going in a good path. There was a gentleman that was doing the Judson Rockets PA announcing, and he was leaving. Came in the newsroom, asked if anybody wanted to fill his spot. We all looked at each other, and I said, well, I'll give it a try. I just finished year number 31 over at Rutledge Stadium. So that's kind of where it got its start. And then picked up a stock car auto racing, announcing here in South Texas at a couple of different tracks. And then, kind of once you get your foot in the door somewhere, it leads to different things. I've really never had to search anything out. Right place, right time, so to speak. And so I picked up I did the Spurs G League team for 1 year up in Austin. And then that actually led the UTSA PA announcer was being hired by the Spurs. So he told me to come down to UTSA. And so I picked up UTSA men's and women's basketball, UTSA softball, football, all the schools over at the Judson School District. I do high school baseball, high school basketball. I just do it all.
Yep.
I think I just want to say you can say, I got my start in broadcasting in a war zone. That right there, I'm just like, How do you top that?
Here's an interesting story about that, because when we went to Saudi Arabia, and we were playing music for the troops, the locals really enjoyed it, right? So this was before the raid started. And then one night I had the overnight shift. So I went from 10 at night until 6 in the morning. And I broke all the rules. But that's what I do. But one night in particular, I was playing some music, and I was listening outside the door of this little booth I was in, and I heard about 50 or 60 jets take off. And I was like, I wonder what's going on. And all of a sudden, the president came on and says, we've invaded Kuwait to clear those people out. So, it was interesting. I mean, we had Scud missiles coming in. I was never near the front, thank goodness. But
No.
I think I helped defeat the Iraqis because I played. This was 1991. New Kids on the Block just came out with a new song. Hated it. I think the Iraqis hated it, so they left Kuwait and went back to Iraq.
Oh wait, what song was it? Because I am such a
Don't even
blockhead.
ask me.
Step by step.
I was literally thinking that.
It's gonna be step by step.
Whatever it was, man, the Iraqis didn't like it, and they said, "Let's get out of Kuwait." So I take credit for that.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of the one
Robin
movie.
Williams.
Yeah, Robin Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Vietnam. Did
Well,
you
there
have
was
a
a friend-
catchphrase?
There was a French television station that was over there doing some news reports for their television stations in France, and they had me do that. Good morning, Saudi Arabia, and so it was interesting, but good times, and I learned a lot, and I'm glad I experienced it.
Well,
But that was
Milton,
the start, like you said, in a war zone.
yeah.
That's
Thank
incredible.
you for your service.
Yeah.
Obviously, your commitment to the troops, putting on stuff to remind them of home, keeping them, focused on their mission and everything is just as vital. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, you bet.
Yes.
So we've plugged a little bit of some of the things that you've done. I know you talked about Judson Independent School District. How long have you been doing the Judson Independent School District announcing? And were you there for some of like the championship dominance during the 90s? Well, and then follow-up question, how does it feel doing the announcing for Judson Independent School District when you and I are both Roosevelt alum?
Yeah, that's that was very interesting move there. Like I said, I think I just finished my 31st year with Judson football. It started off with just Judson at 5 games a year. And then Wagner came on board, so that added another 5 games. And then Veterans Memorial came on. So I've got about 15 games a year plus playoffs. But, 31 years is a long time. I never would have suspected that I would be there that long. I had some really good managers and bosses at some places that I worked at, USAA, the radio station, that they would let me off a little early to get out there, make sure I was there by game time. Being a Roosevelt grad, the funny thing is I went to Roosevelt, but my girlfriend went to Judson. So I used to skip school and walk all the way out Walsham to Converse. And those were the days where you could actually put your thumb out and feel safe about getting in somebody's car. You can dare do that today. But the Judson Roosevelt rivalry was something. 1992, when I was married, my wife and I went to a Judson game against Roosevelt. We quietly, on the Judson side, sang the Roosevelt alma mater, and the Judson fans around us started yelling at us to go sit on the other side. And I'm like, I'm wearing a Judson shirt, a Judson hat. We just happened to go to Roosevelt. There's a whole bunch of Roosevelt people on the Judson side.
Oh yeah,
a lot of graduates.
Yeah, that was always
it was an intense rivalry. Yeah.
And more so on our part because Judson being the powerhouse that they were, everybody hated them, so everybody was their rival.
Oh sure. And then the epic showdown between Roosevelt and Judson when they both Roosevelt beat Judson. And then they both went on to win state championships in the same year. But Roosevelt had the bragging rights because they had beat Judson and given them their only loss. So
That's,
I live the best of both worlds. I don't recognize Roosevelt now the way they've rebuilt it. I don't recognize Judson now the way they've rebuilt it. But hey, it's all good.
Now, was this during the infamous clipboard incident?
The clipboard incident.
Yeah, do you remember that, right?
Oh man, I've had so many incidents.
Oh, okay. I believe it was it was a Judson Roosevelt game in which the coach, I think it was Coach Ferrara. I'd have to go back and look and see which coach it was. But he got mad and he threw the clipboard and he hit the quarterback right there on the bridge of the nose.
I seem to remember that, but if I'm not involved, I erase it out of my memory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
I don't remember it.
For those that maybe don't remember San Antonio history so well, there was an epic playoff. I believe it was a playoff game. A lot riding on the line. Roosevelt was losing that game. At halftime, the coach went in and he was super mad. He threw his clipboard to make a point, but didn't realize that he was actually throwing it in the direction of the player. This guy right here, Coach Tom, he knows. This guy is an encyclopedia when it comes to sports history. But the clipboard hit the player right here, right? Split him open to the bone, took him out of the game, and that was the
no.
Yeah. So that's the kind of luck that Roosevelt has always had.
Yeah, for sure.
So
See, I don't know anything about the high school football here. I'm from Corpus, so unless we're talking about the Bucks, the Miller Bucks, then we could talk. But I don't know anything about San Antonio.
Well, I did a Miller game a couple of months ago over at the Alamo Dome. They had a neutral site game at DeSoto, and I was the announcer for that one, and that was very exciting. Miller was in the game. They'd get inside the 20-yard line and make a mistake, and the score wasn't reflective of how well Miller played. It was like 58-27. But if they don't make mistakes inside the 20-yard line, maybe they don't beat DeSoto, but they make it a lot closer. Miller had a very exciting team this year.
Yeah, they sure did. Once a buck, always a buck. Go MLA.
I just did Cal Allen a couple of weeks ago. Cal Allen came over here to the Judson Stadium, and so Corpus has some pretty good high school teams.
Yeah, they do.
That's where it ends, because when you get to the Valley, then yeah, our goal is to get to the Alamo Dome to lose.
Back in the day, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, we would play, Judson would play either Eagle Pass or Harlingen.
Harlingen, I went to the other Harlingen.
Eagle Pass, we'd play over at the Rock Pile, right? And Eagle Pass would bring 20,000 people. So, pretty much Eagle Pass is empty. And we asked the Eagle Pass fans, you're coming over here to get your butt whooped. It was 63-7, 67-10, every time. They said, we come over here to do our Christmas shopping. So they knew they were going to get beat, but they came to do their Christmas shopping in San Antonio.
How funny. That sounds like your scores for your games when you play. What?
Yeah, I mean,
1,000-0.
Even when the Valley comes up here to play, they call it Valley Week, but they spell it WEAK because we always get our butts handed to us, no matter what school it is. But the entire Valley comes and supports.
Oh yeah.
I remember I went to not this season, but I think it was like maybe 2 seasons ago. Very first experience in the Alamo Dome with my son, and it was a Harlingen game versus Dripping Springs. You may have been calling that game, I don't know, but I think the final score was like 67-0 or something like that. Obviously Harlingen lost, but that was my son's very first experience in the Alamo Dome and watching football really in general, because the Brahmas hadn't started yet. And little did I know what I was getting myself into, because now if I tell him we're going to go watch football and it's not in the Alamo Dome, he's not happy. Like, I've taken him to a high school game at where I used to play in my high school stadium before, and he's like, "Where's the Alamo Dome, Dad?" I'm like, "Son, we're not in San Antonio. We're in Arlington." He's like, "But you said we're going to watch football," and I was like, "Son, this is not the Alamo." I'm like, "Oh man, I spoiled this boy." And now every time he watches any football, could be college, could be NFL, he always asks, which one of these are the Brahmas? I don't see any yellow on the TV. And I'm like, oh, but that's all he knows is the Brahmas. And so, I mean, kind of going to the Brahmas, I mean, the game that you called versus Birmingham, it's one of the things that was incredible for me, at least, while you were getting the crowd wild, while, Birmingham was saying it's too loud in here like nobody can hear me. The quarterback was saying that, the clips out there. My son was asleep the entire during that entire. I don't know how he fell asleep, but I'm like, when you're 3 years old, or 4 years old at the time. Hey, when you gotta sleep, you gotta sleep, I guess.
Yeah, those kids can fall asleep anywhere.
But I mean, it was loud in there.
I want to get into that. Like, how did it come about you being able to announce for the game?
I know the announcer for the Brahmas, and he had contacted me and said that he had a family obligation that he had to go to. Would I be able to fill in for him? And I looked at my schedule. Being in May, there's not a lot going on except stock car racing. Luckily, we were off that weekend, so I said, "Yeah, I'll be happy to step in and just it's like a second home to me. I've done the U.S. Army All-American Bowl for 15 years down there. I do the San Antonio All-Star Game. Those are coming up on January the 11th. I did a monster truck show there one time. That was crazy. UTSA for years, a lot of high school playoff games. So it's like my second home. I know a lot of the people that work there. I feel very comfortable walking into an office and saying hi. So, yeah, I mean, just to get a chance to do a semi-pro team like that or a professional team for San Antonio and get that opportunity to help out, yeah.
So, Papa Steve and Tito and all them.
Oh, yes.
That whole bunch.
Yeah, there's a bunch of nice guys and ladies that work down there at the Dome.
Absolutely. And
so, Milton,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Your first exposure, I know, we had kind of talked a little bit. I had no idea you were actually going to be announcing that game when you were.
We kept it a secret.
Yeah. You're picking my brain for information, which good luck, right? Trying to find something up there. But you've been to lots of energetic games with UTSA and stuff like that. And I know you know how to work that crowd. But what did you think of our crowd at the Alamo Dome, our 12,000, give or take, strong? And what was it? How hard was it for you to do what you do, orchestrate the crowd, get people fired up at the right times, and all that?
Well, my only exposure to the Brahma crowd was seeing some games on TV, and I just wasn't sure how much energy was being put out there. It's kind of hard to see what the crowd's doing from the TV perspective of it. They would give crowd shots every once in a while, and you would see people having a good time, and certain people dressed up as a mariachi always seem to show up on the TV.
Section 108.
When I come in, whether I'm doing a JV football or baseball game or basketball game, or I'm doing a high level event, I'm bringing my A game. And so sometimes I do things until somebody says, don't do it. And so far, they've never told me don't do that. So, it's just, I've been around football long enough now to where I know where there's certain times to do things, certain inflections in certain words. And I didn't know anything really about the Brahmas. So when I did that horns and then y'all responded forward that first time, I'm like, oh, they're quick study. So we just went with that the rest of the night. And somebody came upstairs and asked me, where did you get that from? I said, right here. I just thought about it. And then I saw on a chat board somewhere, hey, we've been trying to get our announcer to do that all year. But it's just one of those things. I just have a good feel for how a game is going, and know when to get myself involved, get the crowd involved, and kind of work it like that.
I mean, I think there should be a suggestion box, because we have all tried to like we're trying to start our own chants and to have it spread.
Right.
So if our announcer would be able to pick up on those, like our
And
Olay
actually,
song, yeah,
the Horns Forward one is actually one that
since
there-
season 1,
yeah,
we've been
since the
doing
very
it.
first season, a gentleman that sits in our section, Justin, he's been doing that. And it's kind of caught on in like the general area, but not for the whole stadium.
Right.
But to hear the whole stadium do it and and just be in
Mhm.
sync like that, that has been, we saw the impact it had on the game, obviously.
Right.
It was night and
So,
day.
So with that being your first experience with the Brahmas crowd, and with the fan base, like, could you feel the energy? Because for us, having been there since season 1, I would say that was probably the most electric that the fans have been at any of the 10 games that we've seen them play at the Alamo Dome thus far. Even the very first one where there was like 25,000 people, and we had, like 12,000 at this one. We had half the size. But that was the most electric crowd for us. But for you, up in the press box, could you hear it? Could you feel it? Like, did you feed off of that?
Most definitely. And I can compare that to the UTSA crowd on a football day. When I say UT and they say SA, and then when I say make some noise, and I can feel it, and then when I say louder, you can feel it, the energy go even one octave higher, or 10, 20 decibels higher. So yeah, we feel it up there. So the first time that I did that horns forward and horns, and y'all responded forward, I knew we had something, and so that's why you didn't hear it just once. We just kept it going. Good first down call right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
That's what it was meant for sure.
Yeah. And that's the important thing too, Jorge, that you said. Fans can be active with this, but if it's only in one section, it just doesn't have the effect, or maybe two sections. But if you can get on board, watching the Rams game yesterday on TV, and their announcer really gets that crowd pumped up. And a lot of people think the PA announcer shouldn't be as involved as they are. But we feel differently, and as long as the fans are listening and the people that are paying your paycheck don't have a problem with it, that's what it is. So I absolutely love crowd reactions, and if something's working, I stay with it. If it didn't work, might not hear it again. So, but no, I definitely felt the energy.
Yeah, it was like I said, I honestly think it truly did have an outcome, like an impact on the outcome of the game.
Yeah.
And so, even though they went on to win the championship, Birmingham, to know that there was a 1 in their loss column, and that 1 was from us.
Yeah.
And, you were a part of that, because you really did ignite the crowd in a different way.
There's not a day that I've ever walked out of the Alamo Dome that I've felt I didn't give it my all. And you got my spotters that help me out. Andy Jimenez, Tom Walker helps me out. Robert Wick helps me out. So I've got a lot of people behind the scenes that kind of feed me some information. Not a lot, but they see things before I see it, because I'm calling the play, and then a little headset in my ear says, "Hey, there's a flag on the play." And so before I go crazy, I kind of hold back to see where that flag is at. And but there's a lot of people that help out. So Tom, Robert, Andy, even Jason, I think, spotted for me one time. Probably the worst game I ever had.
Yep.
That sounds about right.
It just when I leave a venue, I just feel like I've given it my best, and if people don't know who I am, which is what I prefer, in a lot of the scripts that I do, it says welcome. Here's your stats guy, here's your camera guy, here's your spotter, here's your PA announcer, Milton Hope. No. People recognize my voice, when I talk to them, a guy at the golf course today. He was wearing a UTSA beanie, and I said, "Do you go to the football games?" And he goes, "Yeah, I go all the time." I said, "When that crazy ass announcer up there tells the people to get loud, do you get loud?" He goes, "Oh yeah." When he says UT, do you say SA? "Oh yeah." I said, "Well, thank you for doing that." He goes, "Wait a minute, I recognize your voice." Guilty. So I have a lot of people recognize the voice, especially if they're wearing UTSA gear.
We're gonna give you the Chapman treatment, where you'll just simply be known as the Voice. And
The Voice.
I know, because I'd say over the past 2 years, with ESPN and Fox, especially, they have their sideline camera crew, and they call them the Chapman and all that stuff. ESPN is nicer than Fox. They'll actually acknowledge us. Fox will just ignore us. But we started a chant for Chapman, and it seems to, like, I don't know, I'm a very superstitious guy. It seems that whenever we start a Chapman chant, a touchdown happens. So we call it the Chapman magic. So maybe we need some voice magic now.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I know you probably don't want to be known by your name, but we've done the hashtag Hope for Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind being known if people know my name. I don't put it out there, but most of the time people recognize the voice. Except at like basketball, you're right there on the sideline. Everybody sees who the announcer is. But at football, you're just a voice up in the sky, and nobody really knows who you are. But that's fine with me. Anonymity is good, but if you learn who I am, it'll be, it's a lot of fun to talk to the fans all the time.
So let me switch gears on you. I know we're primarily a Brahma show, and that's essentially what we talk about. You'll be happy to know that we are actually going to have some UTSA alum on the Brahma squad this next year.
Good.
So I'm very excited about that. But in your announcing career, with Judson Games, with UTSA, with the All-American Bowl, all that, what has been your most exciting memory as an announcer?
Whoa. Okay. That's a good one. So I would say there's really the first conference championship for UTSA when Frank Harris dropped the ball, picked it up, threw it into the end zone, got tipped by the defender, but still caught by the receiver for the touchdown. The first ever conference championship for UTSA. Probably the best feeling, the best moment, as a crowd and as an announcer, because I'm going crazy, they're going crazy. But that's probably my most memorable thing, is that first ever conference championship, because we hadn't been playing football very long. We'd only been at it about 8 years, and nobody really expected a lot from us. So that's probably the biggest deal right there. High school football, you kind of have to follow some rules, and you can't be as excited on the microphone as you are for a college or a professional game.
Thanks, Joel.
Yeah, no kidding. They even have a handbook for PA announcers on what you can and cannot do. And there's more cannots than there are cans. So I throw the inflection in there on the touchdowns, but you can't do as much. But that's what the cheerleaders are for. That's what the band's for, and they really get into it. But yeah, that first conference championship for UTSA was just the other memory I have, which is probably one that people don't think about, was the very first game for UTSA when we set the all-time attendance record for the NCAA for a startup program, nearly 60,000 people. I was not the PA announcer at that time. I was actually the on-field promotions guy. So I was running all the contests out on the field for the first 6 years of UTSA. But I got out there in the middle of the field and was hyping up the crowd. So to have control of 60,000 people and them responding to whatever you asked them to do as a new fan base. I mean, yeah, sure, everybody's football fans, but they've never had this experience of 60,000 people in there for their first ever college team. And for me to be able to control the crowd, get them hyped up. Yeah, I went home sweaty that night. I worked my ass off that night, but it was well worth it. Well worth it.
Nice.
And I think I remember that conference championship touchdown that you talked about. If I remember correctly, I think it was Oscar Cardenas, the tight end, that caught it. Yeah, and I remember that play vividly, and I was like, "What did I just see? That was amazing."
Yeah.
Well, the other one Oscar helped us out with was the following year when he caught the pass down the middle, high jumped the defender.
Oh yeah,
got us down into scoring position. I really hated to see Oscar get hurt this year.
Yeah.
Such a nice young man, and had a chance to meet his father one day at a football game, and just such a competitor. And I just hated to see him end his career on crutches.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely earned that number 0 that he was wearing. So for those of you all who don't know about the UTSA traditions, if you wear the number 2, 1, or 0, that is like basically team captain status, like elite status, and that's voted on by the players to get those numbers. Like that's not just like, oh, I want number 0 this year. No, it has to, you have to earn that number.
And all single digits are voted on by the team. 2, 1 up is the most important, but all single digits are voted on by the players on who gets to wear them.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And having that number 0, I mean, there's a reason Frank Harris wore it. Obviously he was a very important player, and then Oscar got to wear it this year. And that was, like you said, it was unfortunate to see how it ended, but he's always, ever since that catch that you mentioned, I've always had my eye on him, and I'm like, I have a feeling if he can stay healthy, things go well, he may be playing beyond Saturdays.
And this year he came in a little more slimmed down, lost some weight during the off season, got a little more streamlined to be able to project himself out for a potential NFL draft. And hopefully things still work out. Being invited somewhere, but yeah, he's a great young man.
And if not, I mean, the UFL is always there. I mean, it's a perfect spot for him to get some more reps in and rehab that knee or is that what he hurt? I don't remember what he hurt, but rehab that injury, I should say. And why not do it here at home with the Brahmas?
Yeah, exactly.
Right in front of a home crowd.
Well, your quarterback's coming home, Kellen Mond. I mean,
I know.
He went here, then went off to that IMG or whatever, and had a good college career. Pros just didn't kind of work out, but to see a local kid come back and potentially be the starting quarterback for the Brahmas, that's great right there.
Yes.
Yeah. Milton is definitely not a fan of that team that plays in College Station. So
neither am I.
I think
I'm not a fan of the team that plays in the capital city either. So
I was just going to say, I think your loyalty lies a little bit further north.
A little further north, yeah. Boomers.
Oh no! Because I was going to say
eccentric tastes.
This is what I did to Texas A&M yesterday. Oh, you can't really see it, but I beat them in the video game. Well, granted,
he's very proud of his video game stats. Let me just say
I was UTRGV because they created a team, because I know they don't play till next year. But I beat them I beat Texas A&M 352-0. So I was pretty happy about that.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
I had way too much time on my hands.
Yeah, very. I have a funny question to ask you. So, do you practice like when you're in the shower, like with your phrases and stuff that you do? Do you actually practice or anything for it?
No. This just all comes. It just comes
natural.
It's natural. Yeah. It just, if I think of something off the top of my head. I get a lot of voice exercises on the golf course, yelling at my golf ball, but it doesn't go where it's supposed to go, and I let it go. But
what about do you do anything like special teas, or do you take like a peppermint before you have to announce a whole game or anything like that to help with your voice?
No, actually not. The funny thing is that. On Facebook, I'm part of a public address announcers Facebook page, and people throw out ideas all the time, or they talk about where they're announcing and stuff. And one time, one guy says, "All right, I've got my throat lozenges, I've got my Kleenexes, I've got my." He lined off about 7 or 8 things he had next to him, ready to announce. I'm like, "What the hell?" I don't get. I have a glass of water. That's it. I always
I
have
asked.
ice water next to me just to kind of
Oh,
lubricate.
and it's even ice water. That's
Yeah, ice
interesting.
water.
I guess because as a singer, we like before you have to do. This is back in the days when I used to do mariachi. Like, you can't drink milk because then you get like weird phlegm. Peppermint is good for the throat, so you have you get smooth. So I could see that. So I'm like, I wonder if announcers have like a routine also drinking, hot tea before you have to sing or
them do.
announce helps.
Some of them do.
Some are just gifted like you.
It's just one of those things. I take the way I get ready for a game is I take my binoculars and I look around the stadium and see where the attractive ladies are. I see, I just kind of look around, see
Oh,
who's.
Milton.
I'm a single guy. What am I going to do? But no, I don't. The only and what helps me though when I do have phlegm, that helps me roll my R's on the Hispanic names.
Oh my god, I love
Beautiful.
it.
Meanwhile, guys like
So I know you've got some interesting post-game day rituals when you announce at the Speedway and everything. But do you have any interesting pre-game or post-game rituals when you do like the UTSA games, or like let's just say in a perfect world you're doing the Brahmas games? What would your pre-game or post-game ritual be?
A lot of it depends on what time the game is. For my racetrack that I now set up in Bastrop, we race every other week. So I stop at Buc-ee's in Bastrop, and normally it's about midnight or 1 a.m. So I grab myself a chopped brisket sandwich, a sweet tea, and a 6-pack of chocolate chip cookies for the 2-hour ride home. So that's my ritual for racing. If we have a late night game, a 6 or 7 o'clock game for UTSA football, we finish about 10:30 or 11. I get back on my side of town. I'll stop at Whataburger. If it's an 11 or 12 o'clock game or 2 o'clock game, I don't really do anything. I just come home and change clothes and then go out and get something to eat. But yeah, so it's Whataburger for late night games and it's Buc-ee's after the racetrack.
So I've got to ask this next question because one of our illustrious co-hosts is not here. What are your top 3 favorite restaurants to go to?
Say them slow where they're at.
you already
Located.
said 2, Buc-ee's and Whataburger. That's 2.
Yeah.
No, he's talking about like restaurants. I think he's trying to gather a list before he moves away of the restaurants he needs to hit up. What are your 3 top restaurants in town?
Oh man, that's a good one. I gotta tell you, for a good chili burger, Armadillo's has a great chili burger.
Yeah, they do.
Never heard of it.
It's downtown.
It's just down by Sac, right?
Yeah.
It's
A little
off
further down.
Cypress or something like that.
Yeah, Cypress and McCullough.
Yeah.
I live by there. That's the only reason I know.
Yeah, I mean, man, you put me on the spot on that one. I love Church's fried chicken. I'm addicted to that. I love that. It's not a restaurant, but that's what I love. I don't. To be honest with you, I don't have a favorite restaurant. Surprisingly, though, I don't know if y'all have ever eaten it out there on I-10 and just past UTSA Boulevard. Barbie Cutie. For a chain restaurant, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a favorite, but it's good for
better than Bill Miller's.
Yeah. But no, favorites are tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah, and I bring that up because I know in your circle of friends, in which I still don't know why you let me into it, you do
Who said you were in?
Well,
you're not in the circle of trust yet. You're
that part. I'm a
outside.
Facebook friend. We'll go that far. But you were doing your new restaurant Saturday reviews.
Oh yeah.
That was always fun. And side note, something that we haven't actually really talked about. But so for our fans that are watching at home, you can go back and catch some of this stuff on Milton's Facebook page or on Coach Tom Walker's. Well, maybe not anymore, but it was there at one point.
Yeah.
Milton and Tom used to do pregame, halftime, and postgame little clips, kind of updating, what's going on with the Judson schools, whether it's Judson, Wagner, or veterans, right? That segment that you guys used to do is actually what inspired me to get started with some of this. So about our other show. You've been on our other show.
Right.
Texans Talking Football. But when this idea came up, it was like, oh yeah, no, we got this, right? Because, I've seen Milton and Tom do it, and I've seen Milton, no offense, Tom, but I've seen Milton carry the show. And
he's like, yep.
Yeah, Milton is very definitely the stats guy. Tom is the color commentator. These guys, if you watched it, it's almost like they'd rehearsed it. And they were just coming up with a lot of the stuff on the fly. Milton was the only one who actually really did a whole lot of work. And he's, taking notes and stats and writing stuff down. And Tom's peeking over his shoulder and getting notes and stuff.
That's how I graduated from Judson.
Yeah. But then, again, that's what kind of inspired some of the stuff that I've done, and the reasons why I've jumped into it was because it was like, man, Milton looks like he's having so much fun doing this, man. I got to get in on some of this. So Milton, thank you for inspiring me to just waste people's time on the internet.
Oh, you're welcome. Tom and I did have a lot of fun doing that, and I was Tom was the straight man, and I was the comedian. I did have the stats for the upcoming team we were playing, and then the halftime stats. But yeah, Tom was a straight man, and I was full of jocularity, so to speak. And but it was a lot of fun. People enjoyed it, and we were kind of surprised on how many people were actually looking at that little Facebook post that we put together there for a while. And then when Tom abandoned me, we just kind of put it out. Yeah. But no, that was a good time. I'm glad. Thank you for recognizing that. I'm glad you kind of brought forward what you're doing here. Yeah. Still don't know how to wear a hat, but good to see you're doing this.
You're lucky I didn't have my helmet on tonight. That's only on Texans. Although
maybe you should have had your helmet on.
Although I probably should, because it covers up the old mug. So
that's a size 4X helmet, by the way.
So much better. Coach, I'm ready.
So much better.
Nope. Now you're getting me.
Put your hat back.
No, that has to go back on so you don't see my receding hairline.
We all have it.
Yep. So as an announcer, right, we're obviously trying to use you to pump up the crowd and everything. What advice do you have for the fans that are in the stands to get more involved, to get more engaged, to get more energetic?
Well, it's hard to make anybody energetic. They have to want to do it. If you're paying money to be at a game, why wouldn't you want to be energetic? And then part of it has to do with the product on the field, and that helps stem, kind of gets that energy going from the announcer to the fans. We've had some rough games at UTSA where I'm trying to pump them up, and it just ain't working because we're losing. But you just have to keep going. I think that last year there was a post on I think y'all's Facebook page, and somebody was talking about energy and the announcer and this, and I just kind of chimed in. Have y'all talked to the announcer? Have y'all met the announcer and kind of run some things past him to try to, organize something? And I don't think I really ever got a response, but it's just, the product is going to lead to the energy. And the Brahmas did real well last year. I really enjoyed watching them. They can only get better. It's a learning process as you guys merge with the XFL, UFL type deal. And kind of merged together, and now you've got some really great teams out there. And being on an NFL roster is so hard. I mean, it's like 53 players plus 15 on the practice squad. So there's so many other great football players out there that are available. Do you want to go to the UFL where you have a chance to be rediscovered or discovered, or do you want to go to the other league, the Arena League? I got a chance to do that game. That's a totally different ball game there.
Mm-hmm.
So, product on the field leads to the energy from the microphone to the crowd. And, I think the Brahmas have it, and they'll just build on top of it. And, with you guys leading the charge and everybody else that I've seen on your podcast here, and then I know, I've seen some of y'all's get-togethers at restaurants and autograph signings and stuff like that. You get those people to spread the word. If one section or two sections are doing something, hopefully that third section will pick up on it, and then the fourth section will pick up on it, and then the fifth. And before you know it, a lot of people are doing it.
Yeah, I mean, and I can answer your question as far as have we run it up to the announcer or anything like that. The answer is no. But like you said, it's been a learning process.
Right.
There really wasn't a lot of interaction between staff and other than the ticket sales guys, because they kind of have to, but between staff and fans, and like there was a kind of a disconnect. And I know year 3, with this being year 3 of the Brahmas, that's one of the things that they're hoping to finally build that bridge and kind of get it all more cohesive than it has been. Last year, we started to see it a little bit more towards the end of the season.
Right.
But there's definitely been a little bit of a disconnect that they're working on bridging now. So I think this upcoming season is going to be a lot more of that cohesiveness that you're talking about that we haven't seen in the past. And I think only good things can come from that. So, yeah, to answer your question, have we run it up at the time? Did we run it up to the announcer? No, because we didn't really have a way to do so, or we didn't. I mean, we honestly didn't even know who the announcer was, to be honest.
And to be honest, most places, the fans, they don't communicate with the PA announcer. The PA announcer may look at what and he'll throw it out the door. He's there to do his job and what he's paid to do and do. But in a fledgling or a San Antonio market type deal where we're more of a community or a family, you could probably do something like that where you could get together with somebody and say, hey, can we meet like at 1:00 and maybe not this game do it, but for future games. So things like that are always helpful if the people up here are receptive to it.
Yeah.
We know up here what we want to do. It's the people up here that's got to be receptive.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, is that if we don't have you, then whoever is up in the box, that we're able to, even
have
if we
you
have
on
to get
speed dial, that Milton, what do I do?
Hey Milton, who's up there? Who can I tell?
I always
let them know
who the announcers are. I always know.
So there we go. If we got to reach out to you so we can, hey Milton, put some tips in their ear on, because there's lots of things, like even since season 1, like being quiet on the offense, like there's just things that they haven't picked up yet. Yeah. That I'm just like, we're already in season 3, like. These little things that help our team and pump up the crowd need to be there. And I feel like when you announced that game, it was just a whole different ball game. Like, I'm like, man, this is how it should feel every game. So whoever is in there, like, now that I know, I'll find people. I'll run it up the chain if I have to.
It's a unique blend of working together, but hopefully they'll always be receptive to that input.
So I know we've been running with the hashtag Hope for Hope. The front office has said as much, that they are listening to fan feedback. They want to do right by the fans, for the fans. And so if the Brahmas were to approach you and say, Milton, would you like to be this season's PA announcer for the 4 games that we have in the Alamo Dome? Would you accept?
That's a great question. That's really good. it would be an honor to be able to do that. But here comes the but.
Yeah, I feel
But I have to really look at the schedule first
right.
because I've had the opportunity to do some things at a higher level, but I didn't want to give up the other things that I'm involved in.
Mhm.
And if the schedule works out, man, I'm there. I'm in the door. I'm out. I'm first one in, last one out. I would love to do it. That's why I messaged Jason a couple of weeks ago. Is the schedule out yet? Because then right there, tell me when does the season start?
March 31st.
Okay, so right there, we're into UTSA softball and high school baseball. Now, most of the time, you guys play. What night were y'all playing mostly?
So this
Besides
season,
every holiday known to man.
right?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
all right.
Fiesta.
So I know this year because of Alamo Dome scheduling and because of the Final Four and the finals and all that. The season, from my understanding and from my suspicion, is going to be heavily backloaded. So we're going to be playing more May, possibly June games, maybe one game in April, but it's going to be heavily backloaded, whereas we're going to be the away team more so from the start of the season.
Yeah.
That's just based off of logistics.
Yeah.
And just seeing what's going on in the Alamo Dome at that time.
Right.
Then, I know, like, as we get closer to the summertime, closer to June, we'll probably have games here because places like in Arlington, places in like DC, for example, they're going to be hosting the Club World Cup.
Right.
So those stadiums are going to be occupied, whereas the Alamo Dome may not be occupied. So I kind of see it happening where we're going to have more of our, we may have a Fiesta game. I don't know, but I would imagine we'll probably have most of our games mid to late May into early June before the playoffs start.
You guys have been screwed so much on that scheduling. I mean, I wasn't even a Brahmas fan, but even I noticed that, it was every holiday,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
Easter morning, Fiesta,
Father's Day, Mother's Day.
But that's when the dome was available. So
yeah.
And I showed up to all of them still.
Yeah, you got to play when it's available, but y'all have not been treated well on that scheduling. But yeah, to answer your question, if it all worked out and the schedule works out, and I can, I do have some pretty good backup announcers at some things that I do, and I'm able to walk away and say, hey, can you do this for me? Because I'm going to be over here. So there's a couple of places where I have some backup announcers that don't mind filling in, because they love to fill in, actually. So yeah, I mean, if it works out, I would love to be upstairs and just ramrod this thing. Bring my Kansas City Chiefs energy right there, baby. 12-1, by the way, Jason. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up. But yeah, I mean, if it works out, I would love to be involved and get that crowd going.
It's okay. Jorge's Vikings are like 10-2, so it's okay.
I'm not a Vikings fan. No. Not
Could have fooled me.
Not since they waived my boy.
You know what? He's been like Lions and Browns, then Vikings and not Vikings.
I support
Vikings
the Brahmas in the UFL. Is
There you
basically
go.
what it comes down to.
There you go.
I support these guys.
Yeah. So you probably saw it. The Vikings signed Parker Romo, who was our kicker. Incredible young man. They used him for a couple of weeks while their rookie star kicker was on IR. Now that he's kind of back, then they cut Parker Romo. And it's like, what? Like, he was as Jorge said, before we went live, he's like, 90% of your offense in at least 4 games. Why are you cutting the guy who's helping you win games? But that's a whole other thing. We could do a whole show just on that.
Yeah, most definitely.
So, but yeah, right here is Mike G said, the schedule should be coming out somewhere around the first of the year. Hopefully that's not too short a notice for you.
I heard around, if not the 15th of this month, the 15th of January should be around schedule release time. But it looks like when they announced the venues for the Club World Cup, that kind of threw a bit of a wrench into the plans because DC gets affected by that. So
yeah, for sure. And then, of course, like you said, the Final Four is going to be here, so
right,
that throws a monkey wrench into any use of the dome. Then you got graduations that happen, so
right.
Yeah, a lot of goes into play there at the dome. People say the dome never gets used, but it's always,
it's busy.
Yeah, it is.
All right, Milton. Again, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Folks, hope you appreciated this show and you actually got to meet the man behind the voice. We ask that you continue the hashtag Hope for Hope.
You got to do the sign.
Hashtag Hope for Hope. Keep it going. Where can people find you? Like if they want to continue to follow your angelic baritone voice, where can people find you at?
Angelic. You didn't hear me today over at Silverhorn. That was not angelic.
Well,
I'm on Facebook. I mean, anybody can hit me up. I'll be friends with anybody. But they can look for me on Facebook. I mean, look at that right there. Exactly. I found Jason in the midget section of Facebook, but no, it's just Milton Hope, Milton Hope. Look me up on Facebook. You'll see something there, and hit me up. I say, I want to be friends with everybody if I can. If you piss me off, I'll still keep you as a friend. But I'm friends with lots of Cowboy fans, and so I keep them around just for laughter.
Like this one in particular.
Well, since when am I a Cowboy fan?
No. Bottom, below you.
Coach.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
Tom Walker.
You will once Romo gets picked up.
Poor Tom. Tom's been through a lot, and Tom Walker used to tease me about Kansas City 48 years since a Super Bowl win, 49 years since a win. Well, when we went 50 years and then we won 3 out of the last 5, and Cowgirls haven't even sniffed the playoffs or anything, like a championship. So, they're there for my humor.
Yeah. So, update from the league has kind of dubbed the mayor of the NFL, the UFL. It does look like it's probably going to be in January, probably later January, just because of the NWSL. But we'll get a schedule as soon as we get a schedule. And oh, by the way, there's Tom's comment about
typical Tom. Shut up.
It gets worse. It gets worse.
Well, yeah. This is okay. These 2 teams that are playing on TV right now, this should be on the Comedy Network. It's just.
I mean, that's why it's The Simpsons right now. So
this is awful. The Simpsons telecast is better than the ABC telecast.
I haven't even turned it on yet.
I will say one more thing too about football. And if you guys get a chance, January the 11th at the Alamo Dome, if you like football, be sure to go to the 12 o'clock game. The U.S. Navy's taken over now. U.S. Navy All-American Bowl, and then after that at 5 o'clock is the San Antonio Sports All-Star Game, where they get like 85 or 90 of the best players from around the San Antonio area. Poth and Navarro and Poteet, Wagner, Judson, Churchill, Roosevelt, all the big teams are. But the national game, I've gotten to do the national game probably 16 times here, and got to do some great players. And it's phenomenal football if you like to see kids play their final high school game of their career. It's just a lot of fun. So come on out to the Alamo Dome, January the 11th. I know the PA announcer. And I'll be doing it for both games. And you want to talk about crowd involvement? They put a camera on somebody, and I comment on whoever they put the camera on, and it ain't nice. It ain't.
Oh man.
So we have fun with it. And I warn the crowd, hey, if you end up on the video screen, I could say hi to you in a very special way. And we have a lot of fun with it. And nobody's ever said anything bad. It's just about having a good time. But it's really great football because you will see players on the field in that game become big-time college players, and then they become big-time NFL players. I stood next to Trevor Lawrence at that game. 6'5", long, dirty, blonde, stringy hair. I'm like, this is the next big thing? Really? Well, next thing you know, he's at Clemson winning national championships, and now he's in the NFL. So I've got to do a lot of big-name players, and it's a fun game. So if you can, come on out.
Excellent. Well, Milton, again, thank you so much for coming on tonight. We're going to move you back to the green room so we can do our promos and pay some bills and stuff.
Yeah.
But again, appreciate you coming on, man. If you want to hang out for a little bit, cool. We're going to do our thing. And then
God bless, and go Runners.
Go Runners, baby. Let's go. All right.
So
Y'all, I'm sorry. Y'all probably saw. I'm getting bombarded by flies all of a sudden, and my cat, she's like on alert right now.
She's doing her job. Is what
She
she's
had-
doing.
Yep.
But I got a couple special announcements for the fans out there.
Ooh,
Browns
I don't
fans.
got to do it.
Yeah, no, I'll do it. So,
Eee.
as some of you may have been aware, there was supposed to be an event this past weekend at La Cantera at the Brahmas Tree. If you don't know, there is a specific yellow Brahmas Christmas tree at La Cantera. And unfortunately, due to weather, they did have to cancel the event last week and reschedule it. That has been rescheduled to Saturday, the 21st, I believe is. Let me make sure it's the 21st. So the event that was supposed to happen this past Saturday will happen now on the 21st at the Brahmas Tree. But also, there will be an event that is scheduled for this Saturday at the Brahmas Tree. Now, I don't want to give away too many details, but I will just say keep your eyes peeled on all Brahmas social medias because there may be a few special guests that will be making an appearance
There will be
at the Brahmas Tree. I will say that one of them may have. Or they may bring good tidings, and they may be, white-haired, and no, it's not Santa Claus. So, although I don't know, there may be a Santa Claus there. I don't know, but
a Brahma Claus.
But yeah, just keep your eyes peeled on the Brahma social medias for more information on that. Yeah, definitely some special guests are expected to be there. So if you are available this Saturday, keep checking the Brahma's social media, and there will be more information released here soon as they have all the details finalized for a little get together at the Brahma's Christmas tree. Now, of course, if the weather gets bad or something, just kind of understand that, but this Saturday is going to be a good one that you won't want to miss. I unfortunately will have to miss that one because I'll be in Oklahoma, but for everyone else, that's a call out. This is the first of hopefully many more off-season events. As the NFL season comes to a close and gets closer to playoffs. That means that spring football is right around the corner. So before we know it, it's going to be a Brahma season. So, and this time, I hear a couple of the players are playing. They're coming back kind of angry with the way things ended last year. So
payback season. Hashtag payback season.
So with that being said. That's all the announcements I had other than Arlington, you're still terrible. Birmingham, I don't like you. And St. Louis, you're garbage. That's why your coach wants to leave.
Just look out, Annette. They should be posting it probably. You know how we are. It's usually the week of is when they send out information.
Yeah, we don't have specific times yet, but like I said, keep your eyes peeled on for the Brahmas. So on the social media pages for the Brahmas, they will be posting that information as soon as it has been finalized, because there are a lot of moving parts to this. That's all I'll say about that.
Okay. So I'm sure a lot of you guys saw some posts on social media, and Jorge kind of set the trend a little bit with his special tattoo. And not to be outdone, because SAJ got the FOMO. Your boy went out and got himself a little tattoo also this weekend.
He's branded for life.
Branded for life, man. I am a Brahma for life. And so is
there he is.
Right there.
Okay. So these are fresh tattoos, like done Saturday.
2 days old. So they look all goopy and gross right
now.
But
who did them?
One of my favorite players, as soon as I found out. So you may have seen that he did a mural and everything. So Jordan Williams was very nice and booked us some time for Jay and I to go up to Austin. And you'll see more of that if you're a friend of mine on Facebook, my personal page. You've probably already seen the little video, but there will be an updated one to include Jay's session as well. But we got to hang out with Jordan. We got to hang out with Jordan on Saturday, and it was a lot of fun. He's super down to earth. If you are looking to get tatted by a Brahma, look up Jordan. Yes. He's at Dark Horse in Austin, which is a cool spot. It is literally a venue. It's like a coffee shop, a tattoo shop, and a barber shop, all in one.
And like a meeting room / live music venue.
Yeah, they have a little stage there, so it's like
so Austin.
It is. So when you walk in, it's like a whole, like they have the tables, they have the stage, and then right when in the back area it's closed off. It has a section for the barber, back corners closed off section for the coffee, and then again another section for just the tattoo area. Yep. So it was a really dope concept. Everyone there was very nice, but it was really cool to hang out. I don't think Jordan was expecting this duo, Jackie and Jason, and he's never hung out with fans before, so he was just like, y'all are wild. Like, we got to hear lots of fun stuff that we won't be able to talk about. It's just for our memories, but it was a lot of fun. It was totally worth the drive to hang out and get branded, get a tattoo from a Brahma.
Yep.
And our Brahmas.
Well, and yours even got signed. So
mine is signed too. Yep.
And also keep in mind that this is how he makes a living when he's not playing football. He is an artist. That is his primary profession, whether it's making artwork for, commission pieces or doing tattoos, or murals on a wall. I mean, this guy does it all. So Jordan Williams, make sure, if you want to support local, support your own, no better way than to support what he does for a living, by going, if you're looking to get a tattoo, booking him to get your next tattoo.
Yes. Very light hand, really good with lines, shading. It was very quick and it was painless for me. Jay was kind of like,
he was crying.
Jay cried the whole entire time.
I had to hold his hand. No, but he does some really great work. If you follow him on Insta, there's a lot of his work on there too. Whenever he's doing tattoos, he puts them all up there on any of his artwork, all of that good stuff. So look out for him. I think it's like at Get Hit 44 on Instagram. So
Hit
look
with
him out.
2 T's.
Yeah, look him up. But other than that, that's what we did this weekend. We had a good weekend.
Yeah. So, and he's definitely going to be getting some more business from me, because I was very impressed, partly by my piece, but really more the artistry that he did with Jackie's piece. Absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait until it's ready for the full True On reveal and everybody can see the color and the detail and the line work.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
Insane.
Yeah, it's very, very nice.
So,
but other than that, next week We will be switching our day from Monday to Friday to accommodate our very special guest, which I'm not going to say. You'll see the flyer come out on Monday or probably earlier this week. We'll probably promote for the next 2 weeks, but we are going to switch our show next week to Friday to accommodate our guests. It is a Brahmas player, so make sure you guys tune in. Other than that, make sure you follow our brother show over here tomorrow. Texas Talking Football.
Texas
Tuesdays,
Talking Football.
8 o'clock, Facebook, YouTube, Insta, all of that good stuff. There you go. Thank you to AFN, as usual. Are those all the bills we pay?
I think so. Well, and of course, the illustrious Milton Hope, right?
Yes, thank you,
And-
Milton.
And you guys, the fans, thank you so much for tuning in again. Truly couldn't have this much fun, couldn't enjoy it nearly as much without you guys. So thank you for the continued support. Looking forward to wrapping this year up strong and having an incredible 2025. We've got big things in store for you guys. Obviously don't want to blow that. And I love by my co-hosts' reactions that they don't even know what I'm talking about. And that's good, right? Because then it makes it even more surprising. But we love you guys. Thank you so much. We'll catch you again on the next one. Horns forward, baby.
Bye.